Kamala Harris up 3 points in our last ABC News Ipsos poll, 49-46. We put this poll out on Sunday, and then we stayed in the field for an extra day just to see if there was any change whatsoever. Guess what? Exactly the same numbers, no change, and basically where the race has been all along at the national level. In the battleground states, though, we're seeing some interesting churn. We've got our 538 polling averages. We also have the final polling from the New York Times and Siena College, which has been back in the battlegrounds pretty consistently, and it had some surprising results. It had Kamala Harris with a slight edge in both North Carolina and Nevada, and also in Georgia by a single point. Those are essentially must-wins, especially North Carolina and Georgia for the Trump campaign, not the Harris campaign. So that suggests that she's on offense in some places. Meanwhile, a tied race in both Pennsylvania and Michigan. Those are basically Harris must-wins. So it shows how much these candidates are nervous down the stretch, that they're fighting on each other's territory. And at the same time, we've got some interesting polling out of Iowa that's really scrambled expectations. A 3-point edge for Kamala Harris in a state Donald Trump carried by 8 points. That would be a true upset. There aren't many people that think Trump is going to lose Iowa, but if it's even close, it suggests some real problems that he has, particularly among female voters and older voters. And the gender gap has been a big storyline throughout this campaign. In our ABC Ipsos poll, we have a 16-point gap between men and women. Harris with that 11-point edge among women, Trump up 5 among men. It gets even bigger, though, if you drill down into some interesting groups. Independents, a 22-point gender gap, and voters under 30, a 45-point gender gap. That's enormous, and historically would be very significant. It tells you something about how the campaigns are messaging in the final days. And we have a country that really is on edge and even angry. 74%, that's 3/4 of voters, say that we are on the wrong track heading into Election Day. That includes half of all Harris supporters and 98% of Trump supporters. Those are the kind of indicators that typically would be very bad for an incumbent party, and that's kind of what Harris is fighting against because, of course, she is part of the Biden-Harris administration. We've seen an enormous number of people vote already, 78 million votes cast. We've seen a new record set for early in-person voting, although the mail-in voting from last cycle due to COVID still has the early turnout up over that. And it's going to take a long time to count votes like this, and we're going to see different things in different states. To give you an example, North Carolina and Georgia, we're expecting relatively early results from those states because they say they've got the processes and the laws in place to count pretty efficiently. Pennsylvania says they're going to be faster than last time, but a lot of folks are worried that could take well into Wednesday to get results. And if we're waiting on places including Nevada and Arizona, it's likely to take days given the way that they count the votes. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong. It doesn't mean there's anything to worry about. That's just what state officials say we're likely to expect. Diane?
Borders are Harris. To win this election, every city, every community in this great country is going to go to hell. The untold millions of people, unvetted, who she has allowed into this country that are committing murders, rapes, robberies, burglaries, and every other crime will continue to put our country in peril. Only one man can fix that. That is Donald J. Trump.